This drone footage that is captured today of the landmarks of the Syrian capital, and this is just days after the ouster of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. In the Syrian capital, like you can see, banks have reopened for the first time since the overthrow of the al-Assad regime in a major step towards restoring normal life. Shops have reopened, there's traffic that's returned to the roads, construction workers were seen back fixing them roundabout in the city, right at the center, and of course street cleaners were out sweeping the streets. Proper buses full of bank employees made their way to the central bank of Syria. The lightning overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad, it left Syrians, countries in the region and world powers nervous about what comes next as the rebel alliance took its first steps in a government transition. And why we're saying that is because Syrian Prime Minister Mohammad Ghazi Jalali said that he has agreed to hand over power to the Syrian Salvation Government, the SSG. And while opposition leader Mohammad al-Bashir has been tasked with forming a new Syrian government, the challenges are plenty and they lie ahead. Now, Mohammad al-Bashir, he was born in 1983, an electrical engineer, mind you, and head of the Syrian Salvation Government in Idlib, particularly under the aegis of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the HTS, that was at the forefront of this Islamist fighters' fight right down to Damascus. And it will lead efforts to form a new cabinet following the rapid fall of the President al-Assad's government. Now, you also have the Syrian Salvation Government that was formed in 2017 by the HTS and other Syrian opposition groups. This during the Syrian civil war. It was actually actualized in the year 2013-14 but was established in 2017. And SSG, the Salvation Government, wielded administrative and service-related authority in areas under the HTS control in Syria. Now, the militant groups led by the HTS waged a major offensive from northern Syria since November 27th and had since swept southwards through government-held areas, capturing the capital Damascus within a blitzkrieg of 12 days. Syrian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Bassam Sabag said that he has presented an initiative to former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to launch a political process in Syria. But take a look at what's happening on the other side. There's a severed Syria. Can it be united or not is a big question. Will the transfer of power be smooth enough or not? We'll have to wait and find out. But global powers in the region, they're vying for influence in Syria. Israeli planes bombed at least 3 major Syrian army bases that house dozens of helicopters and jets in the biggest such wave of strikes on air bases since Bashar al-Assad was toppled. 2 Syrian security sources have also confirmed the same. You've got the Kamishli Air Base in northeast Syria, Shinhar Base in the countryside of Homs, and Aqaba Airport southwest of the capital Damascus. They were all hit according to that particular source. Israeli troops have meanwhile moved deeper into the buffer zone with Syria in wake of Assad's collapse. Israeli jets have been struck. Targets across Syria have been struck, all of this since the weekend, and in an apparent bid to ensure Syrian military equipment, including combat aircraft, missiles and chemical weapons, do not fall into the Islamist fighters' hands. Now, Israel, meanwhile, has welcomed the fall of Assad, an ally of its main enemy, Iran, but has reacted cautiously to the leading rebel faction, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which has roots in Islamist movements, including the Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Israeli troops have moved deeper into the buffer zone with Syria in wake of Assad regime's collapse. But that's not all. You've got Russia on the other side. Satellite images have revealed to us, ladies and gentlemen, captured what appears to be an empty Russian naval base in Tartus in Syria following Bashar al-Assad's ouster. In a picture from December 6, and some of what appears to be in warships at the base can still be seen in contrast to Monday's image. Now, the Kremlin has also said that President Vladimir Putin had made the decision to grant asylum in Russia to Bashar al-Assad, who was ousted as Syria's president by a lightning rebel offensive. Assad's fall is a big blow to Iran and Russia, which had intervened in Syria's 13-year civil war to try to shore up his rule despite Western demands that he leave power. It is unclear how Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a former al-Qaeda affiliate that led the rebels' advance, will view Russia's military facilities in Syria. The Haimim Air Base in Latakia province and a naval facility in Tartus on the coast. And the Tartus facility is again important for Russia because it's Russia's only Mediterranean repair and replenishment hub, and Moscow has used Syria time and again as a staging post to fly military contractors in and out of Africa. Joining me here on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, to speak more on this is Ambassador K.P. Fabian, former Indian diplomat. And why, Ambassador, his role is going to be important in today's discussion is because he's erstwhile served in Iran and Qatar. Ambassador, very warm welcome to you. Before we come to you and get this snowball moving, let's quickly take a look at essentially how, well, you know, the drone footage captured today, the landmarks of the Syrian capital, and what a morning in free Damascus looks like. Here's a complete report. Take a look.
Syrians awoke Monday free from the brutal Assad family dictatorship that governed the country for 50 years. A lightning campaign by Syrian rebel forces in recent weeks and the rapid collapse of government forces culminated in President Bashar al-Assad and his family fleeing to Russia over the weekend. The development sparked jubilant celebrations in the streets, tempered by uncertainty over the nation's future. This man said they had been waiting for this day for 50 years, adding that they had been living in what he described as a prison, a quote, big prison called Syria. The rebel victory here sparked hopes that after 13 years of civil war, residents might see a return to normalcy. This person said, quote, God willing, we will see a new era, a good one, from better to better, with this new situation. He hoped factions inside Damascus would get control of the situation, that things would work normally and return to how they used to be, and even better, God willing.
The Syrian people have every right to celebrate the moment that many of them have been waiting for.
Dr. Badr al-Saif is an associate fellow with the Chatham House Middle East and North Africa program. He said the end of the regime has so far allowed the rebels to free prisoners from Assad's notorious prisons and given hope to those who fled the civil war that they might return home.
You're talking about the biggest refugee crisis since World War II. You're talking about the biggest internal displaced population since that war as well.
Amid the celebrations, regional and global powers moved to secure their interests and settle scores in the war-torn country. Israel sent its troops into a demilitarized zone in the Golan Heights.
The only interest we have is the security of Israel and its citizens.
Its foreign minister said the incursion was temporary to prevent violence spilling across into its territory. The Israeli Air Force also struck sites near Damascus. U.S. jets attacked what Washington said were Syrian targets associated with the Islamic State militant group. The Kremlin said it planned to discuss the future of Russian military bases in Syria with the country's new rulers. Iran's foreign minister on Sunday said Tehran was surprised by how rapidly Syria's own military collapsed. Assad was a key Iranian ally, funneling arms and support to Iranian-backed groups such as Hezbollah.
The path for Syria's future is often sold as one filled with chaos, unrest, and uncertainty, and by others who are on the ground and celebrating still are ones who think that things will be rosy and all good news.
Al-Saif said Syria's new rulers face a daunting challenge of balancing both national and regional interests.
It's going to be a mix of both. And we need to be mindful that this is a work in progress. It's as good as you can make it be. That's where the international community can come in and support the Syrians in what they think is best for them.
Well, Ambassador, I'm going to come to you next. You just heard some of the people over there as well. There seems to be, a little bit of rejoicement. There seems to be a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm. But there is a little bit of underlying uncertainty in all those reactions as well. We now know Mohammad al-Bashir has been appointed as the caretaker prime minister. And, according to you, how does al-Bashir's previous political experience as the head of the SSG? He's been a prominent politician for the SSG, the rebel factions, and, of course, a prominent engineer as well. When you're looking at Syria's governance model, what are you talking about essentially?
Well, thank you. He was a minister in Idlib, which has a population of 3 million. And according to all accounts, the governance there was reasonably okay. They had said that girls can go to schools, but only to all girls school, you know what I mean, not mixed school. And otherwise also minorities also were taken care of. In fact, in Aleppo, there is a Christians are there. as a minority. And I heard on television, Al Jazeera, a Christian from there saying that, when these people came and liberated Aleppo, they went from door to door asking whether people needed bread. And they did it across the divide of religion or divide of anything else. So till now, as UN representative for Syria said, I was listening to him about 15 minutes ago, till now, all the impressions we are getting, the statements being made and all that are good. But still, we should keep our fingers crossed. And it is important for the international community to work with the new authority in Syria. And Qatar has already expressed its willingness to work with them. And let us hope, that will be the case, rather than create more trouble for Syria. And the new government also should not. One important difference is that, in 1979 in Iran, when I was there, the Khomeini followers, they wanted Shah to be returned and to be tried. Now, these people have not asked for Bashar al-Assad to be returned and to be tried, which is again a positive sign. Because if we go on a vindictive spree, then there is no end to it.